All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Well, Black Monday got started a little bit early, as not too long after the Patriots finished their season with a win at home over the Buffalo Bills today, the decision was announced that the team has decided to move on from Jerod Mayo after just 1 year. And it's a stark contrast as far as things have been for the Patriots because Bill Belichick held that seat for 24 years. And Robert Kraft, the Patriots team owner, soured on Jerod Mayo after just one. Now, New England just wrapped up their second consecutive 4-13 season, and it marks their worst stretch over a 2 year period since prior to Kraft purchasing the franchise more than 30 years ago. And of course, one question for me is going to be, why did Kraft sour on Mayo after just 1 year? And the other thing for me is, are we going to hear the truth about it? And you heard, you listened to some of Robert Kraft's comments today, you know, post, the firing of Jerod Mayo. And to me, I felt like some of it was hypocritical. Okay. And I know, like, I'm gonna touch on the Mike Vrabel aspect in a minute, but this is Robert Kraft's quotes right here. He said, "For me personally, this was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. I've known Gerard for 17 years. He earned my respect and admiration as a rookie in 2008 and throughout his career for his play on the field, his leadership in the his leadership is even more evident as I saw how the players responded to him. When other teams started requesting to interview him, I feared I would lose him and committed to making him our next head coach. Winning our season opener on the road at Cincinnati only strengthened my convictions. Unfortunately, the trajectory of our team's performances throughout the season did not ascend as I had hoped." There's other parts of Kraft's quotes that I'm gonna like peel back right here. He also said, "Since buying the team, I've always considered myself and my family as custodians of a public asset." And he said the same thing after he moved on from Bill Belichick last year. "We have tremendous fans who expect and deserve a better product than we have delivered in recent years. I apologize for that. I have given much thought and consideration as to what actions I can take to expedite our return to championship contention and determine this move was the best option at the time." Now, in Kraft saying, all right, that we haven't put we haven't put a good product out there in recent years, that doesn't fall on Gerard Mayo. And this is why I get upset at the Crafts over this, because if you wanted to move on from Gerard Mayo after 1 year, that's fine. I still feel that it's a waste of time for everybody because regardless of the sport, firing a coach, for me after 1 year is a waste of time, and unless it's a certain situations, and I'm going to touch on that. But my thing is this: Gerard Mayo was one of your own. He was there. Okay, so you had to know whether or not this guy could be or could not be the guy to be the head coach for your team. And then you sour on him after just one season. Were the Patriots expected to be good this year? Absolutely not. And I talked about this when they fired Bill Belichick. I talked about this when Bill Belichick was still the Patriots head coach. And I've been talking about it all year. Listen, Bill Belichick, the general manager, didn't do Bill Belichick, the head coach, any favors. And meaning, over the last couple of years, and even going back when Tom Brady was still the starting quarterback for the Patriots, Bill Belichick did a terrible job drafting and putting talent on that roster. The ability of Tom Brady was able to mask that somewhat until the point where in 2019, Brady's last year there, it got to the point that you could not cover up the stench anymore. Okay. You weren't going to flip a switch or snap your fingers and think, hey, Gerard Mayo or anybody else for that matter was going to come in year one post Bill Belichick and turn this thing around, especially after you just traded one of your best defensive players, Matthew Judon, just prior to the season starting to Atlanta. There really was not a lot going on with this Patriots roster. The Patriots offense has been near the bottom of the NFL since 2021. That was the last time they went to the postseason. That was also the last year that Josh McDaniels was this team's offensive coordinator. Okay. It's one of those where, unless you have a situation where you bring in a head coach and he's taking over a championship caliber team, and that team regresses and regresses badly, and there's some infighting, and the players are turning on that head coach. Okay, I could totally see you moving on. But this right here, to me, falls right into the lap of Robert and Stephen Kraft because, again, it's not like you brought in Jerod Mayo as an outsider to your organization. And you know what? He didn't fit. He was one of your own. He played for you. He won for you as a player. He was a coach. He worked his way up through the ranks. And then you turn your back on him after one season. And then Robert Kraft also goes on to say that he still believes that Gerard Mayo will be a successful head coach in the league. Okay, it's one of those. There's more to it than that. I'm not sure if we will ever get the truth out of it, but what we've seen from the Patriots organization in the last couple of years is what happens when you have a poorly run franchise. And it's very weird for me to say that because for nearly 2 decades, the Patriots were one of the models in the NFL. You think about the success that they had from 2001 to 2019. And honestly, even going back to that, you think about it, on Robert Kraft's watch as Patriots owner, they've made 10 Super Bowl appearances going back to the 96 season with Bill Parcells, at the helm. When you think about it, since Robert Kraft has come to town, it's only been 93, pardon me, 95 rather, 95, 99, 2000, 2002, and 2008. And in 2008, the Patriots still won 11-5 that year, as far as them missing the postseason until Tom Brady left. And of course, now it's been 4 out of the last 5 years. And of course, for New England, it looked like they were possibly going to have the number one pick. I expected the Patriots to win today because I expected um, the Bills to rest their guys, and that's basically what they did once Josh Allen, kept his consecutive start streak alive. I did not expect the Patriots, to rest Drake May. They did. Joe Milton did show some flashes out there. He can probably be used maybe as a trade package, somewhere down the line. But nonetheless, this Patriots team coming into this season was not a player away. Okay, you went out there and you upset Cincinnati in week number one. And of course, the Bengals are definitely bemoaning that because that was one of the many games that cost them an opportunity to get to the playoffs this year. Nonetheless, what did you really expect from this New England Patriots staff? Did you really expect Gerard Mayo to have this team in contention to be a wild card team? Did you really have Gerard Mayo in contention to go out there and contend for the division title? I don't think so. The Patriots roster is lacking talent. Drake May was the first step in the right direction. And when you have a coach who's taking over a rebuild, and this is a rebuild, okay, and this was, to me, I thought Drake May was like step one in that rebuild. That head coach needs easily 2 or 3 years to try to figure it out between a couple of draft classes and free agency. Now, I'll tell you like this: the Patriots just finished this season 4-13. If you are Robert Kraft and you wanted to give Gerard Mayo 2025, and the Patriots were 2-15 or 3-14, or once again 4-13, okay, different story. It's not working out. We made a mistake, but there was no way that he was going to get this fixed in year one. Now, there's also rumors um, as far as the Patriots looking at another one of their former linebackers, one of Mayo's teammates, to come in. Vrabel is reportedly going to be, receiving a lot of attention this offseason. The New York Jets are linked to him. There's also a possibility about the Las Vegas Raiders, among other teams, if they decide to move on from Antonio Pierce. But it's one of those where what are you going to do if you're the Patriots? I mean, Vrabel, yes, he is more experienced. He is more established as a head coach. He has a quarterback, but again, the Patriots are not a player away. And I think just bringing in Jerod Mayo, promoting him for a year, granted, the Patriots still got to pay him rather. Uh, it's just a waste of time for everybody involved because what could, especially since he was already in your organization, what could you have not known about Jerod Mayo as a coach right now that you simply did not believe in 365 days ago or so when you made the decision, you know what? He's going to be the guy to follow Bill Belichick. Okay. We know that Drake May is the real deal at quarterback, and the Patriots have to build around him. Coaching staff, players, personnel, you name it. Okay. But again, it's just one of those where it's just a shock right now for me with the Patriots, just due to the fact that they were one of the top NFL franchises for quite some time. And with Brady and Belichick, granted, they won 6 Super Bowl championships, not easy. They made 9 Super Bowl appearances together. The Patriots were always in contention for championships. Robert Kraft was looked at as one of the premier owners in the National Football League. And what Robert Kraft has done has basically become Jerry Jones. And the guy with a high priced team and a big media market, and your team is a joke. And that's what the Patriots have become right now. Some people saw this coming. Maybe I was a little naive about it as far as the Patriots making the decision again. But for me, it's just one of those. I've always felt like unless you know that you made a mistake, it's really tough to move on from a head coach after a year. And typically, it's the bad organizations that do it. You think about a couple of years ago when Jacksonville, moved on from Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer didn't even get a year. And it was one of those where I said it from the jump. Urban Meyer should have never been hired in the first place. You think about Denver a couple of years ago bringing in Nathaniel Hackett, and that was a train wreck from the word go because they basically were trying to sweeten the pot and try to get Aaron Rodgers. And of course, that didn't work out. But generally, when teams do it, especially bad teams, and the expectations are not that high, it's a bad look because you just wasted everybody's time involved. You wasted Jerod Mayo's time. You wasted your time. Anybody that he brought in for his coaching staff, fans, you name it. Because now the Patriots got to start over again. I'm not here to sit up here and say that Gerard Mayo was the next coming of Vince Lombardi. Absolutely not. We may never know how good he could or could not have been as a head coach, but 17 games, one season, one draft, one round of free agency, in my opinion, is not enough to get it done. Um, for right now, for Stephen and Robert Kraft, whether it's Mike Vrabel or whomever else, and of course, if you're the Patriots and you're probably looking at Mike Vrabel, hypothetically speaking, you would feel like you have the inside track, just due to the fact that, hey, Vrabel is one of your own. Vrabel's part of the quote unquote Patriot family. More than likely, it's probably going to happen. If that's going to be the case, the Kraft will definitely pony up the bread. But if you're Mike Vrabel at the same time, you could sit back and say, hey, well, wait a minute. You're the Patriots. I played for you. Yeah, we're talking about family, but Gerard Mayo was in the locker room with me. And, he got that whole Patriot family speech as well. And what happened to him after just one season? So it's one of those you would imagine still that Vrabel is the leader in the clubhouse as far as who the Patriots want to be their next head coach. But this is a mess of a situation. Robert Kraft and Stephen Kraft created it. And they talk about being the custodians of this organization. Now it's time for them to clean up the mess that they themselves have created. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the Sports Special Group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Also, be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled on this channel this week. There is a lot to talk about in the world of football, whether it's college or the pros. We got Black Monday right around the corner in the National Football League. Let's see who gets hired from their respective teams because there's going to be some coaches that are going to be let go in the next 24 hours or so. That's number one. Plenty to talk about in the NFL world as far as the postseason, and of course, it's semifinals time this week in the college football playoff. But once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.